Hey y'all, yeah, today let's talk about one of the advantages of running LTL compared to running over the road. Yeah, I talk a lot about how my job as an LTL driver works and some of the advantages and disadvantages of working for a big LTL company. Well, I came across an advantage this week, that I noticed was definitely an advantage over running over the road. So, this week we had a big winter storm here in Texas. It was coming in Wednesday afternoon in the Dallas area and was going to be bad all day Thursday and maybe into Friday. They weren't sure then. So, the advantage that I have is when this happens, I don't have to work necessarily. If it's up to me to not run because I don't think it's safe, then really don't have to run. And I understand that in some parts of the country, even our company, up in the Utah and Oregon and up there where it's pretty common for the winter storms, they take better care of the roads. The guys are used to chaining up. They used to running those kind of conditions, and they pretty much keep on. I'm sure there's at some point that they'll shut it down too. But here in Texas, we don't really like running in the snow and ice. The roads aren't kept that great. They do their best, but I guess it's just not feasible money-wise for them to spend the money on taking care of the roads the way they do up north. So what I did this time was supposed to come in Wednesday evening, and in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, not bad until really late. Really late. I would have been back in on Wednesday to Dallas if it was okay. But I looked at the forecast early in the week, like over the weekend and early in the week, and in Abilene, which I run from Dallas to Stanton, Texas. In Abilene, it was supposed to start getting bad in the afternoon, early evening, which would have put it bad right when I was coming back. So what I ended up doing was, I saw that was going to be bad. I didn't want to get stuck. I didn't want to take a chance on having a wreck. Having to get pulled up a hill, having to get a wrecker, and then eventually having to shut it down and get in a hotel. Now, normally, if I'm out there just running and there's a surprise storm and it gets bad, I've had this happen with bad rain with empties where I couldn't hardly drive, run because of hydroplaning, and I ran out of time. Had to get a hotel, no big deal. Or if I run into snow, I've run into snow up in Colorado that wasn't expected, get the hotel. Don't have a problem with that at all. I don't mind staying in the hotels. I take advantage of the rest. But this time, I did not want to go out there and get stuck, and I could actually do something about it ahead of time. So I was looking at the weather and the forecast and decided to get a hold of my line haul manager, ask him if there were available days off for Wednesday and Thursday, and there were. So I just went ahead and put in for personal days for those 2 days. Proactively taking care of not being out there on the road. So I took those 2 days off, Wednesday and Thursday, and would decide on about Friday, if it came down to Friday and they were running and I didn't want to run, I'd take an attendance point and maybe not go. But let me tell you what happened to the guy who did run my run and all the other guys that ran out there Wednesday during the day. I watched his truck, which he was in my truck, so I knew he was in my truck going that way. And there's an app. Well, not an app, it's a website for our ELDs that we can follow the trucks. That way we can see when our meat man's going to be there. We know where he's at, if he stopped, if he's broke down. We have an idea when he's going to get there. So I just looked at my truck and followed it on Wednesday. And Wednesday early evening, afternoon, evening, he wasn't moving. He was on the highway, not moving. So he definitely got stuck in it. And I found out, I think he had to get pulled up a hill or something like that, so they had to pull the truck. And he ended up about midnight in a hotel in Sweetwater. He should have been in Dallas a couple hours earlier than that. But he ended up in that hotel in Sweetwater, and he was there until late Friday afternoon and didn't get back to Dallas till Friday evening. Like 36 hours in the hotel. And normally I wouldn't mind that, but I decided not to deal with the hassle and taking the chance of having a wreck. Since today's Saturday after the storm. Between Dallas and where I am now, I'm about an hour from Stanton. I saw 10 or 12 trucks jackknifed in the median on both sides. Some of the tractors were gone, but trailers were still there, and a couple of those trailers were broken in half. Just big van trailers broken in half, a flatbed full of steel pipe, load all over the median. I mean, the load's not worth it for me. I don't mind staying in a hotel, but I do mind getting in a wreck and jeopardizing my job, my life, somebody else's, the equipment. It's not worth it to me. So if I see a way to do something different, I'll do that, and that's what I did. So it ended up Friday, I took the personal days Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, they stayed closed because it didn't get above freezing all day Thursday and didn't get above freezing until sometime on Friday. So the roads were still not great, especially around DFW. And I would have probably called in, but when I checked, they said we're closed. So, stayed closed Friday, but they did let us know in order to make up for the days that we missed, try to catch up on some of the freight. We're going to work Saturday, which was my day anyway, but we're also working Sunday to try to catch up. Now, you might not like that, but hey, that's the way it goes. We got to catch up to freight. And that way I don't have to pick another day because I'll have the same amount of days of pay that I would have normally, except for the 2 personal days. So that's another advantage of running LTL over the road. Now I know there's some guys that are over the road and that's the lifestyle that they like. That's fine. I did it. I liked it. But at some point I wanted to be home. I wanted to make more money. And there's pros and cons either way. We'll talk about some of those another time. So if you're interested in more about weather, I'm going to put a video up here on this side over here and maybe a playlist of other stuff you might be interested in watching. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Check out all my content. And for those of you who have, I appreciate it. And we'll see you later.